Mhm.
You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
So happy Tuesday on the Pan African Daily TV. I hope all of you are doing fine wherever you are. It's another cold, chilly day out here in Germany. Places are so cold, it's rainy outside, and as you can see, I'm freezing somehow. But guess what? The continent is enjoying all the luxury of sunshine, of warmth, of everything that you can imagine. So, yeah, today we are going to have a special kind of edition that I called, reconciliation. When a king start thinking of the children, thinking that they even owe an apology to his children out in the diaspora, then we are getting there. When a king suddenly thinks that he owns a lot of land and cattle and space, so that land doesn't only belong to his kingdom, but to the children of the nation that are scattered without a house, without a home, without place to call home. When a king gets up and is awoken and realize that I'm sitting on the wealth of my ancestors and I have a lot of message, yeah, because my ancestors' voice to pass across to the children of Africa. When a king suddenly realizes that the throne on which he is sitting does not belong to him, it's a throne of service, it's a medium to connect its people. When a king suddenly realizes that the earth, which is one of the very important elements in this dimension, the earth is fertile enough to feed all the children in the diaspora and scattered all over the world, then we are getting there. We're getting there. So tonight we're going to have no other person than King Bongane, the third of the Embo Kingdom. Now, a lot of people have been saying, Susan, you just wrote Embo Kingdom. Where is that? There is no way we're going to start dividing Africa by saying it is in the north, it is in the west, we're one Africa now. And I think one first thing that we have to start doing is our narratives, our communication, even the way we start using ourselves like, oh, I come from this. No, he is the king of Africa. And so do you, so do I. So I'm very excited to start this conversation, but unfortunately, the king is still in the palace. He has some very, very important ceremony taking place right now, but he's joining us in anytime, very, very soon. Yeah. He was here. We did a couple of feedback and checks and stuff, and he was just called suddenly. And that was what took us even longer to get on this conversation. So while we gather ourselves into the compound, while we all seated, positioning ourselves, waiting to get to listen to our king tonight, I want us to just remember one of our ancestors that relocated on this day, how many years back? You know, the biggest voice of the ancestors, who is king and he lives and lives forever. So we're thinking about our ancestor, Robert Nesta Marley, who was the biggest voice for freedom and the medium, and his message and his power and his spirit lives on with us today. And so when you think about him, today is the 11th of May that he relocated to join our ancestors, 1981. What a time, what a journey. But his message is forever young. That is the spirit of the ancestors that lives on with us today. I mean, when we think about the most unique identity that the Black man has worldwide, what we think is the best slogan and even a motto for us as Africans that he left with us. So we begin to think about, this prophet brought us the unity key, and he taught us about one love. One love. And like I said before, I'm not going to introduce King Bongane, whether he is from where. I just say Embo, Africa, because we are one now. We're not going to divide ourselves. The prophet told us it is one love. And when we think about all the melody and the text, fight for your freedom. The time for unity is now. No woman, no cry, redemption song, and even song about Zimbabwe. We didn't even know what was going on in Zimbabwe, but the prophet already predicted and prophesied until today's Zimbabwe. And so that's some of the music that should be reigning. Now is the time of liberation, our freedom. Our kings are waking up. Our kings are calling us back home. Our kings have suddenly just realized that the potential that their children are all missing. Why is my kingdom so dry? King Bongane asks, and you see him, he's only talking. He's been on one of the major platforms that we have in the diaspora and on the continent. He is vocal, courageous, bold. He is the voice of the ancestors. And now, not only is he founder of the UCA, UCA is the United Kingdoms of Africa, on which throne King Maponga Joshua Marara III is also sitting, but a leader, a prominent leader out there. Now, the question for us, while we're waiting for the king to join us, to tell us actually what is it that he has packaged for us. If you look at some of his videos or his conversation, he says it. He told the people directly, all the foreigners on our land, because this other system, we just have to forget about them. Those are foreigners, right? And he told them, Africa can make it without you. And we don't need your permission, and we're not even asking you the chance. Yes, because my ancestors did it. And I'm here, the voice of the ancestors. And I know we can make it. So tonight, King is going to be joining us. He's going to tell us. And like you saw, I put the caption, forgive us. Come back home, children of Africa. Because having a conversation with him, what did he say? There's too much land. The land is fertile. Even though we complain and we think that, oh, they are foreigners, that's enough for the children of Africa. Why are we wasting in the streets with no home, called homeless children? They're killing us, they're raping us, they're maiming us, they're slaughtering us, they're hanging us. Yes, enough blood, children of Africa, you need to come back home. And when the king speaks, he speaks with authority. He's not just a king because he's ruling a kingdom. He is a prophet. He is also a scholar. Yeah, he has traveled the world. He has studied even the other civilization. And he knows that there is no other civilization that ever existed apart from his civilization, like a king and the kingdom and the queens. It is an exciting week that we're starting to have our king here grace us, bless us, and tell us there is enough. You need to come back home and secure your land. You know what? Other kings would be sitting in some palace with the president, or go running to IMF or World Bank, begging for funds, showing up their hands. No. What does King Bongane does? He studies the community. Put him on. He studies his community so he can tell you about the potential. And that is one of the topic. That is the focus of the main topic. What is it that he's bringing? He wants to tell us the opportunities that are available. We keep talking about how Chinese are taking our land, and he says, no way. So he's going to be educating us on the impact of royal development in the villages. As you can see, he's not a man sitting on the throne and riding in some private jets or begging some money from that. No, he is loyal to his subjects, to his people worldwide. You have seen him on global platforms, calling his children back home. And tonight, we're so graceful and thankful that our King is here to deliver us this wonderful message that we've been waiting for. We are hungry, we are thirsty. And as us children, It is also our responsibility to know that you need a home. You have a home. Even though we were stolen and we were taken, there comes a time where a child is hungry for his family, where he's hungry for his land, where he's hungry and looks for his mothers and children. Because we were stolen doesn't mean that they have to steal us back. Yeah. So we are here tonight on the Pan African Daily TV. I want to thank you. If it's your first time of joining, or even if it's not your first time, make sure you click subscribe and join our campaign Agenda 21, a united Africa for all Africans. And we are making it with 1,000 subscribe 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily, and it is pushing up. I want to congratulate all of you that have been signing, that have been subscribing, and the numbers are skyrocketing. And we're going to give our kings and the kingdoms this 1 million. I said, these are the people that are enlightened, that are woke, that are ready to work, to serve, to volunteer, to bring back the know-how, the skills. These are the 100 soldiers. These are the 100. 1 million, 1 million. This is where you can start. And that is our journey. That is our plan. That is our work. And thank you for being a part. Now I heard Iya is telling me that the king is already comfortably seated. Let us go back to studio and get this wonderful message. My Royal Highness, you're welcome.
Bayete, how are you?
Thank you, my king. As you can see, we're feathering so well. Having you here, it's a pleasure. So, how is the kingdom doing?
I am doing very well. Happy as I am, ready to fight for our birthright and ready to reclaim what belongs to us. Bayete.
Bayete. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're also ready for you, my king. That time is over where we used to, be reminded. Now we ourselves are coming back and say, here we are. What can we do? So we want to thank you because you're joining us tonight live from your kingdom to tell us why is it that the African child should not be homeless. It is time to come back home. Over to you, my king.
Thank you very much. Remember, if we go back to history, the people of color, I'll tell you why I always refer as the people of color. I do not subscribe to the notion that we are Africans, because the name Africa originates from a person who was a murderer, who was a conqueror. His name is Scipio Africana. So if we align ourselves to this man, I think in his grave he must be dancing, because this is a man who has conquered a lot of continents under the Roman Empire, and this is a man that was then honored with this continent, his name to be bestowed onto this continent.
Wow.
We subscribe to the notion of Embo. Embo simply means the place of origin, the cradle of humankind. When our grandmothers, if we, the children, we have done wrong or we have got out of the line, they will then look up in the sky and say, Asibuele Nembo, simply means let us go back to the origin. Why our children are doing these wrong things, they're reminding us of going back to the origin. Remember what we are talking about. We are talking about people who were chosen and be made by the Creator. We are talking about people who are having what we call melanin. And this melanin, it is designed like a pineal gland. And this melanin does releases a liquid that makes you and me to connect with the cosmos and connect with the waters and connect with the Creator. When the Creator put us into this continent, He made us His eyes and the ears and the mouth to be the custodians, the guardians of His minerals, natural resources. And He said, we will be His eyes and ears and mouth, because we are people who are coined under the name of Angoni. What is the meaning of Angoni when you translate it? When you translate Angoni in English, simply means people who do not dwell into sin. God knew that when He placed us into this continent with all these massive mineral resources or natural resources, we were not going to steal that were placed there, and we are holy. We are not going to dwell into sin by conniving, by stealing the minerals.
Mm-hmm.
That's why He placed us here. Now, what did we do? We connived with the people who were not chosen, who came from other continents, who were Caucasians, who came and stole our minerals, and we agreed with them. What did we do again? We connived with these criminals who stole our brothers and sisters into what we call slavery. So all those sins that we connived with these criminals, they made us to detach ourselves from the Creator. We are the people who were chosen by God, who are divine in spirit, who are spiritually connected with God. So we have lost that connection. That's why it is important as the people of color to go back to Embo, to the origin, so that we connect and we find that network that makes us to connect with the Creator. The people that are referred in the Old Testament are me and you, not the Caucasians that are killing people today in Israel, what we would call the Palestinians. Both those people that you find today in Israel, be it those Caucasians that they name themselves as Jews, be it the Arabs that they name themselves as Palestinians, these are not the original inhabitants of that place. That's why they will keep on fighting and fighting and fighting for generations to come. We are the original inhabitant of that place, because that place belongs to this continent. We are the spiritual chosen and gifted people. That's why we have to go back to the drawing board, to the origin, and reconnect with God. God will then restore those powers and the connection. Then we will know who are we. In closing, what I'm talking about, here we are talking about spiritual connection. This spiritual connection will never happen if you do not have the melanin. A lot of people think that because we are dark, then we are cursed. No, we are not cursed. God knew when He made us dark that we are the people that are going to be His custodians on earth. Kingdoms that you find on earth are a replica of heaven. That's why everything that we are doing here on earth, it is done in heaven. No king would be placed onto a throne if he is not spiritual, if he does not connect with God, because his orders, he gets them from God. He is just a mere ambassador of God here on earth. He does as my Father does in heaven. The royal council, it is a replica of the council in heaven. That's why the Bible, in the Genesis, where it starts, it talks about God when he says, let us make humans in our form. He does not say, let me make humans in my form. No, no, no. He was talking about the joint custody of him and the royal council. And these royal council members are the custodians who are being placed in different points of the earth, be it the God of the waters, be it the God of the wind, be it etc., etc. But these people, they work together under one God who is the creator. We have lost that. That's why we need to go back and find ourselves and say to the Father, we have committed a sin by disengaging onto the laws of heaven. Please forgive us and restore the powers unto us. Let me tell you, these Caucasians, we can do better without them. We have created a civilization before they came here into this continent. There was a civilization before Pharaoh existed. It was called Bhungane civilization in the Kemet. There was kings before Pharaoh existed. We created Pharaoh. He actually copied what we were doing. The Greeks copied what we were doing. The Caucasians today, they copied what we are doing. We came with the education on earth. We came with the civilization. Medicine, we created it. These people who are Caucasians, they lived like animals in Europe. We taught them civilization. Why should we come under them today? God entrusted this world, this continent, together with other continents, to us as the people of color. We are the first nation, the first people who were created by God. Thank you.
Wow. I can't even I can't even stop, because just go on, my king. I mean, why? Yeah, the first thing, the name. And so if we keep saying we are children of Africa, all right, maybe being conscious of Lao, the geographical continent, so we are wrong.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, my king.
We were placed by God in the Garden of Eden. Noah found us here. I still repeat, Noah found us here. We continued with the civilization of God. The Garden of Eden, some people are saying it's in Ethiopia. But when you look at the demographics, the borders were created by the white civilization. We did not have borders. We are Bantu people. And as the Bantu people, when the children grow, we allow them to occupy other space. That's why we spread the whole continent. As some people call us, the nomads, because we never believed in the borders. We are the custodians of the continent. Some people also argue to say the first people are the Khoi and the Sens. That's not true, because when you go today in the place called Morocco, you would find in Morocco mountains that are carved with the craft that today we are told by the white men that it is a craft that is used by the Khoi and the Sens. Meanwhile, the occupants of Morocco, first, it is the Berber people. In my language here in South Africa, we refer the Berber as the Bembe people that you find in the Congo. Why did they say Bembe or Berber? Because when we used to gather together and praise God and remember God in our ceremonies, we used to wear a tree, what we would refer as the palm tree, that those leaves that we put around, those trees, we would refer that tree as Bembe tree. So people would then refer to us as Bembe people. But we are the custodian and the owners of this continent. We need not to be apologetic about that. Pharaoh found us here. Arabs found us. Today, when you go to Egypt, you would see how the Arabs are treating those pyramids because they have no connection with them. They have no connection. That's why they can go and pee onto those pyramids. That's why they can go and dig, because they don't have a sense of respect together with those Caucasians and go and dig our forefathers without our permission. To us, it is an insult because they are disturbing our ancestors as they were resting. And they are able, these Arabs, because they don't have a connection with the very same ancestors that we are talking about. They are able to take them and display them in museums around the world. To me, it is an insult because you can't take our bones or our forefathers' corpses and display them. These are sacred things. So to me, they will do that because they have no connection, and to them it means nothing, but to us it means a lot. So we, as the people of color, we need to come together and align ourselves with spirituality. We should not adhere to the religion of the white man, because this religion is the one that makes us today to fight. Today we are divided as the people of color because we refer to ourselves with these different denominations or religious denominations. I would call myself, for an example, I'm a Christian, I'm an Anglican, I'm a Roman Catholic. The other ones will say, no, me, I'm a Muslim. That's nonsense, because we were here before all these religious denominations. We lived above religious denominations. We were spiritual people. We knew God before the white man came to teach us about their religion. And they come and tell us today that Jesus is a white man. Never. If Jesus was a white man, why did he live in Abyssinia, in Ethiopia? Why did Jesus? He went and they have coined today as a religion. Christianity was a course that you would go and study in a spiritual format. When you have graduated into spirituality at the highest level, you will then be bestowed a title called Christ. We as the people, we created that. There was never a religion that was called Christianity. When I was in Ethiopia, there was an old Christian Bible or Christian Bible that was there 2,000 years before the existence of Christ, because that was the system that they taught in Ethiopia. Then when you graduate into a certain level in the spiritual form, when you are, when you have graduated to heal people, to see things that no human can see or mortals could see, you are then elevated into this particular level where you are bestowed this title that is called Christ. It is a spiritual thing. It's got nothing to do with any religious denomination. Today we are told we should become Christians. And once you sit down and analyze Christianity, They spilled a lot of blood under the crusade, the Christian crusades. They forced a lot of people under the missionary schools to adopt and to adhere to Christianity. The Christianity that I'm talking about of these Caucasians is the Christianity that is full of blood in their hands. If you would see colonizers, when they come and colonize us here in the continent, they would be walking alongside with the missionary schools or the missionaries to create these schools that they must come and indoctrinate us. Today we are being indoctrinated. Today we don't like each other. Today we think if you are educated by the Catholic school, you are better than other people of color. It is because it is a mindset that was created by these killers, by these creatures, by these people who were cursed by God. That's why they have this color, because they cannot survive under the sun. They cannot survive under the sun. They cannot survive under the sun because they are cursed. And meanwhile, we find ourselves aligning ourselves. The world is like this today because we have followed the traditions and the customs and the culture of the same people who are cursed. Today we've got the Francophones, we've got the Lusophones, we've got the Anglophones. These people, wherever they were, they killed people. How can you then say you follow people who have murdered your forefathers, who have destroyed your cultures and traditions? If you can go to the Congo today, what did Leopold did there? He slaughtered people, he cut people's hands. Then you want to say you want to follow his religion. You do the same thing today with the English. They created what we call the King James Version. Where did you ever see a king creating his own Bible? Meanwhile, the Bible is supposed to be sacred. It's supposed to be the Bible of God, the Word of God. Today we find Muslims who are creating kingdoms because they are aligned to Muhammad. It does not work that way. We need to live beyond, above these religious denominations and come as one, as the people of color, and reclaim our birthright and reclaim our destiny as the people of color. God gave us, he loved us so much. He gave us melanin. God gave us so much that he gave us all this continent with all these minerals. Why can't we come together and form one parliament of our people? And this parliament should not be aligned to the system of governance of the politicians in the continent, because these are the most corrupt people who are chosen by their former colonizers. They have reduced ourselves to these people. We are nobody today. Because why? Because we are the lackeys of these colonizers. Today, Africa, it is messed up because of these people who refer themselves as politicians. I want us to live above systems of governments so that we create what we call people's governments, where the people will decide and create their own systems of government that are aligned with God.
My king, is that what UCA is about? Is that what UCA is about? Tell us about UCA.
Absolutely.
Yes.
UCA, it is United Kingdoms. Not everybody is, not every so-called kingdoms should become members of UCA. Because if you remember, there are kingdoms that are installed by the very same people who killed our forefathers. These kingdoms that participated in the killing of our forefathers, installed by the very same colonizers, those people are not welcomed in United Kingdoms of Africa. Here we are dealing with kingdoms that are indigenous. Their kings and their chiefs are indigenous and chosen by God. We do not want, I repeat, we do not want people who were installed by these killers, by these colonialists. For an example, in South Africa, we've got kingdoms that are recognized by government because in the previous dispensation, they were recognized by the colonizers. They were installed by the colonizers. So these are the kingdoms that we do not subscribe and connect with. I was called in by the former president, Zuma. I told him that I have no interest in working with you. Why? Because your foundation as the government of South Africa, it is a foundation that is connected with colonialism. You use the system of the colonialists that is called Westminster style of governance. It is the same laws, the same structures, the same norms of the colonizers. So if I sit and agree to work with your system, it will be a total betrayal to my forefathers and to my ancestors, because my ancestors were killed and destroyed. My culture and my culture of my people was destroyed by the very same people. It is me today. You want me to sit next to you? I cannot, because I see the place you are sitting at the Union Building, the place that you are sitting at the Parliament that was never created by you, never created by your forefathers, but created by these colonizers. You are sitting on their throne. You don't even know underneath what is it that was buried by the very same people to create the foundation of oppression. You take over on top of that oppression. I don't want to associate myself with that. I don't want to be part of you. We will function as a kingdom. And for me to function as a king or a kingdom, I don't seek your permission. I don't need your permission, because the kingdom of Embo, it is continental. I'm not going to ask your permission to be subscribing to under your system of governance, because if I do not agree with you, you would come and say you want to withdraw my certificate. I don't want your certificate. My certificate is the blood that flows inside me of my forefathers, the same blood that fought against colonialism. I'm not going to agree to that.
The king has spoken. Your Majesty.
Bayete.
What is the structure? I mean, I know that King Maponga would be coming to sensitize us so far. Now, we also know that the Kingdom of Embo is continental, and I've been getting members in the different communities that I will not expose here reach out to us on the expansion of this kingdom. Now, the Kingdom of Embo is open to any African on the continent anywhere, isn't it? Like, I'm a queen of Embo.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. Bayete. Bayete.
Thank you, my king. I was just asking, it was a question. Like, it's open to all Africans, right?
It is open to all the people of color, because it is your kingdom, it is not my kingdom. God, when he placed you onto this continent, he knew that you would be the ones that are in charge. You don't seek permission to be a member of Embo. It is your kingdom. Your traditions and the customs and the culture is the same. It is a spiritual kingdom that embraces the laws of heaven. It is a kingdom that seek guidance, vision from the Creator. So it is your kingdom as the people whom today we would refer, because of the cruelty of the colonizers, of the slavery, as the people of diaspora. But I want to explain it today. You are not in the diaspora. It is a continuation of Embo, where you are. We need to create kingdoms wherever you are, so that we take over. So because God entrusted us with the continent, but these other people who came from these other regions who were cruel to us, God says now we must take over, because we were spread the whole world. It is us that must come together and take over the country, the whole world. Now, and form what we call the world parliament of our people, because it is us that were chosen by God. We don't seek permission to be told what to do by these creatures who don't even know, who do not have a culture. Whenever they see you, they don't even greet you. Whenever they ask something from you, they just come to you and say, can you tell me where can we find? They don't even have manners. You will see that these are people who were created by Lucifer himself. People who are aligned with Lucifer, because they don't have respect, they don't have a culture. If they had respect, they will never do what they've done to our people in the continent. If they had respect and dignity, they will never have that nerve of taking our people into slavery, into those ships, and killing them and raping our mothers and sisters in those ships and killing them and throwing them onto the sea, because these are people who do not have a sense of consciousness. These are people who are aligned to Lucifer. So this kingdom, it is a kingdom that does not connect with such people. We are the people who are chosen by the gods and God himself. We need to reclaim and take charge of our continent. It is us, my queen, that we must take charge. It is the kingdom that is open to everybody. We, wherever we are, in Jamaica, in Germany, wherever, we need to regroup and choose our royal council. When you were taken to slavery, when they were taken to slavery, these are the children of the royal families that were taken. Some of them were princesses, some of them were queens, some of them were kings. They were destroyed, their dignity by the very same people. We need to restore that.
Bayete, my king, Bayete. I hear you. I hear you so much. Like, exactly, this is the point. And I'm just thanking because, like I said, we had a prophet that, an ancestors that relocated today, Robert Nesta Marley. And exactly this is what he was saying. The winds of Jordan, we one people on one place, and we are taking over. So it has been a challenge, because even this idea of come home has been like a signature. So, but you are giving the power to say, I coronate you, take your king and your queendom wherever you are, and we go and multiply, isn't it?
Absolutely. The problem why it could not work about the unity, about one nation, as Robert Nesta Marley used to talk about, it is because there was one element that was missing. He has forgotten to tell the people to connect to spirituality. Spirituality, if all of us could reconnect to spirituality, to God, you tap into what we call the divine spirit. Out of the divine spirit, you connect with the cosmos, you connect with the waters, then later you connect with the creator. When you have connected with the creator, you become his friend. He then divulges secrets to you. He tells you of the secrets of the world. He tells you of the trees, that if you can take that particular tree, you take that particular tree, you mix it together. This is the commotion that will come out. If you take water and you pray for this water, it will heal people in this particular way, because you are now his friend. Then when you are his friend, you are now at the level of humility. You have developed humility into you, a culture, a discipline that is aligned with God. There's a traditions and a custom that is aligned with God. So if all of us imagine we can practice that, we would create a divine nation, as it was explained in the Old Testament, that we were the chosen people. We are the chosen people. If you look at the 12 tribes of Judah, the last tribe of the Levi, it is a divine tribe. That is me and you. If we can all connect to that, then what Robert Nesta Marley was saying, it will come to pass. That's all. It does not need, you need just to kneel down and say, Father, I have committed sins against you. I am seeking connection with you. Then you start doing right things. You start living a clean life, a righteous life. You start becoming a clean people, because this divinity makes you to have this guilt conscious of doing the wrong things.
Correct.
We won't kill each other. You know, my brother's father was talking to me today. He was reminding me of what makes us as a nation of Embo. He says, Your Majesty, if all of us could remember that when the Creator created us, he gave us these terms and reference of living on earth. He says, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, commit adultery, all those things. He says, if all of us could adhere to that, we would live a clean life. Then God will accept us back. Then all shall be well with us. That's what Nesta Marley was trying to put together. So it is us that must now talk about. As the Queen of Embo, you need to talk about, because this is, you know, when you live in the divine spirit, you don't become jealous against your brother or your sister.
Correct.
You don't envy what he or she has, because you know that your corner, it belongs to that particular space, and then yours, it is yours. The others, it does not belong. You cannot want what does not belong to you, because that is where the wrong starts. If I'm a king today, you want this chair, and you don't even know what makes me to sit here. You know, I have young boys. I like my first son, because the king and the heir to the throne is chosen by God. So he says, my first son, Father, I know that I'm not the one who's chosen, but do you allow me just to look at the lion's skin? If I just hold it and give it to my brother, because he's the one who's in charge. That's all what he was seeking. To me, that's profound. Unlike waiting for me to die, then he wants to contest. He says, no, I am a person who adhere to spirituality. I don't want whatever my brother has. My brother has been chosen as the crown prince. I want to support him. Now I'm talking about the son that comes first, and there's another one, and there's this one who's chosen. Now, I don't choose a king. I don't write a will where I say who and who is going to be my successor. No, it is God that chooses the king, the heir to the throne. So this chair, as a king where I'm seated, it is a divine chair, because this chair, it is God who chooses whoever sits there, because I am just a representative of God on earth. He is the one who decides. Like you see what they're trying to do, presidents of the countries, they try to appoint ambassadors. They're trying to replicate what God is doing in heaven. It is a similar system of governance in heaven. I am chosen by God. And when you come to my policy, it is not my policy, it is God's policy. When you come, you expect to be healed when you are in contact with me. When you come, when I see your things spiritually, I need to perform that ritual of healing you. When there are problems, that's why people will say, when we come to the palace, just trembling onto the earth of the palace, that soil in the palace, I get healed, because it is a sacred place. It is a divine place. That's why we need to respect it and adhere to the laws of heaven. It
is, I don't know, we're all taken, but that's the message. And I believe you're my king. Because sometimes if I look back, even though we cry so much that we suffer, it is us. Some of it, like you're saying, little things that we are not even aware. Privileges like just lying. We take it for granted. But those are things that we keep doing and expecting other results. So I think, like you said, if we know we're just passing and we have a message and we're sitting and we have a call, humility, like you said. My king, what is it that would take us? What is it that would take us to come to that point where we need to be truthful and honest to ourselves?
First, it begins with humility. When you swallow your pride and say to God, the Creator, I thought I was the person. Meanwhile, I have forgotten that you have created me. Because remember, all of us who are breathing here on earth, we are breathing the spirit and the breath of God. If all of us could bring down ourselves down to say, from today, I am living the life of a sinner. Today, I am changing my ways. Today, I am reconnecting with our Father. Let me tell you, and you say to Father, I am a sinner, I've committed sins. I am seeking forgiveness from you. And as I'm seeking forgiveness from you, I am going to live a clean life, a righteous life. Let me tell you, you continue and say, God, please, from today, remove the spirit inside me that has contaminated with curse, and breathe in a new spirit that is clean inside me. I want to be a clean person. God is going to hear you. Because remember, you have connived with this spirit. Meanwhile, it does not belong to you. It belongs to God. Remember how God fought with Lucifer in heaven. The main thing that made them to fight was not other things, but Lucifer said to Father, I can also create a human being. God says, okay, create one. He created one. Then God says, breathe the spirit onto him. He could not do it. Then God said, because you have murdered somebody today, I am commanding you with your friends that have connived with you to leave my palace today. Now remember, if God is able to do that to him, what about you who are conniving with this spirit, with his spirit, talking lies to people, making people to fight, making countries to fight? Today we are like this. because people, they come and lie to us. Politicians come and tell you how they will build the best houses for you, how they will give you a better life. Meanwhile, they know deep down in their hearts that they are lying to you. They will never do that. They will remember you after 5 years. Now, how many people who have connived with this Spirit of God, lying and killing other people and committing sins of abomination in the world? That's why it is very important to ask God to renew your spirit, so that all of us, if we have renewed our spirit, we will be able to connect and have a better nation that is divine, a nation that has a divine culture, a nation that has a divine traditions and custom. Imagine what the type of nation are we going to be.
This is so profound, my king.
But
it is so profound. I know it is also being mixed in this religious context. Like you say, they just stole everything, even our power, our word, our, not our spirituality, but a kind of a similarity, because everything is just copy paste and then change it. So instead of Lucifer being another color, it became black to what we physically see. Yeah. So but the profound truth that you are saying is just that knowledge of self that all our other scholars have been saying. If we connect to the divine, then I cannot look at my brother and envy him. I cannot look at my sister. I'm jealous. I cannot look at two people and I divide them. I cannot look for anything and I begin to, I wish it was me. So it really starts with the cleansing of us as African people to be able to connect to our ancestors or to our divinity. Correct?
Correct. Absolutely. What you are saying is very, 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 very profound. Because jealousy is the root of evil. If all of us could reconnect, let me tell you, we'll live a better life, all of us. If all of us could reconnect with the, imagine you being welcomed by your father after you so many years as a prodigal child. All of us. That's why it's very important to reconnect. And let me tell you, you live a beautiful life. I have tested that life. I know what I'm talking about. And what I have, it is not riches. It is the wealth that no one has. And what I want to talk about today is that we are lucky because these people who have created these religions, they have never tapped into spirituality. We are lucky because they have not tapped into that. We still have a chance. We still have a chance. We can leave them with their religious denominations and reclaim what belongs to us. You know how I love the Father in heaven, how he gives us something that nobody can take. It is beyond degrees, beyond master's degrees, all these titles of professor. You know, I'll tell you, do you know I'm a professor?
I know.
I don't care about those things. But what I care about is the divine spirit. Because what I'm worried about, for me not to disconnect, because I need to be connected. That's what I worry about. I'm a doctor. I don't care about those things. They are not important to me. What is important to me, it is the connection. That's why every day of my life, I must remember to pray 5 times a day. And more than 5 times, what I do when I'm seated, as you are engaging with me, there's this voice that says, Father, take all what is mine. Please give me all what is yours, meaning live inside me. Mine, it is not mine, it is yours. But live inside me. You know, I once had a dream when I went to my mother's place in Swaziland. During the day, I felt like sleeping. I told my grandfather there, I said, Grandfather, can you please allow me to go and rest a bit? It was around about 12 o'clock. My grandfather says, but you are still talking. I said, I really feel like sleeping. He says, okay, go. Let me tell you, I had a very short sleep. At that time, I was not divine. At that time, I went to sleep. I did not even enter into the blankets, just on top of the bed. Then I had a very short, quick dream. These dreams, this dream, it is as follows. I dreamt a man who was wearing a powder bluish long cloth gown. He was riding a white, beautiful horse. He came to me, he said, then he descended from the horse. And then he hugged me with this right hand. He says to me, do you see all this beautiful land? The landscape was so beautiful. I still repeat, the landscape was so beautiful in my dream. He says, all of this belongs to me. And as I am the person who is the custodian of all these things, I remember that there is a 5-day prayer. And meanwhile, he was pointing at me with this hand. He says, meanwhile, you cannot even pray once and you have nothing, zero. Look at me, I have all these things, but I pray 5 times a day. Then I woke up immediately. When I came back, my grandfather said, are you awake so quick? I said, yeah, I had a terrible dream. Terrible dream. Yeah. He says, what is the dream? Then I told him. He says, this dream talks to you. Change your lives. Change your lifestyle. At that time, let me tell you, at that time, I was at the verge of buying a Ferrari. I had a lot of money that I did not steal. I had a lot of clothing shops in town in Johannesburg. I lived I thought it was a good life. My grandfather says, change that lifestyle that you're living. So this is how I changed. I relinquished all those things. I gave them to my son. I said, I don't want to be party to this. I am living a righteous life. I'm not saying to people they must live whatever they are having. No. Live, but include God into your things. Because in all your businesses, imagine if God prevails, all shall be well. In everything that you are doing, be it as a lecturer, be it whatever, if God is part of your plans, part of what you are doing, all shall be well with you.
Oh yeah. Bayete. And one amazing thing when we find our spirituality, particularly leaders and like you can see there's no fear, isn't it? We live in fear when we don't have.
No, I fear nothing. I fear nobody. Can I tell you, I walk without bodyguards. I'm not scared of anybody. Nobody. I had bodyguards. I told the guys, why should I have these guys here? At the palace, there were guys who were guarding. I said, but what do they want, these guys? They said, okay, Your Majesty, can we then opt for putting cameras? I said, okay, but I don't need these people. Because God, you know what God has done? One prophet gave me a prophecy, and I attest to that prophecy. He said to me, and what I'm going to tell you is very important and profound. He says, Your Majesty, if I quote him, he says, Your Majesty, do you know that kingdoms, that were created by God on earth, every kingdom, God descended angels to be the guards and the custodians of that kingdom. He says, our kings in the continent, what did they do? They decided to disengage with God. Those angels went back to heaven because these kings, they started using rituals that were not godly. He says, what you have done by restoring the kingdom of God, God has placed all those angels that were meant for other kingdoms in the continent. They are with you.
Mm.
To me, that's profound. And you can see, because you can see and you can feel them. You know, at home in the palace, they will tell you that they feel like there are people who are moving in the palace. They will, kids, when you are loved by children, they come to the gate of the palace every morning, afternoon, they come and want to create a dance group, and others, they came to say, we just came to greet you. And these are the kids who don't even know who I am. It is not them, it is these angels. I remember again, one guy was passing by, I was next to the palace gate. This guy, he came and he took off his shoes. I said, can I help you? He says, I am seeing spiritually, I am seeing lot of spiritual kings in your yard. They are wearing leopard skins. Then I just teased him. I said, but I'm alone in the yard. You know, he says, no. I am seeing them. They are very ancient. They are moving in your yard. Another one says to me, my king, also he was passing by. He says, he says, my king, if these people around you, they knew who you were, they would sleep in your corridor. I said, why should they sleep in my corridor? He says, there is life here. He says, I pity them. Then he looked at heaven. He says, one day they would know that what God has placed onto them next to their, to their doorsteps, but they never utilize that opportunity. So I'm saying, to live a divine life, it is a good life. You don't need to be guarded. One day, one Caucasian tried to touch me on my shoulder when I was addressing the gathering of Embo. He came from behind. Members of Embo can attest to that. He was wearing black clothes, this guy, this Caucasian guy. Then he placed his hand on top of my right shoulder. He burned literally. Fire came out of my shoulder. He screamed in front of the people. Then I asked him, why do you place your hand? If you want to talk to me, why didn't you come in front? He was burned because he was not a clean soul. And he did not know that I was walking with angels, with divine people. So he thought I was alone. So these are the people who are burning him, who are guarding me. So if all of us could subscribe to that, these angels will descend to become our bodyguards, to become our guardians, to become the ones that are here placed by God onto us.
Mayete, my king. This is, like I can see, it's emotional, it's profound, it's deep. It is difficult. We don't have such knowledge because our minds have actually been distorted. So when we hear anything that is spiritual, and we hear, because there are quotations, there are narratives, there are words that, you know, the enemy has used to confuse us and, you know, to distract us and to give the attention. And so we begin to look at these setups as, you know, instead of the divine connection, you connect to people thinking that you're connecting to your ancestors or your God or the powers that be. So it is very, it's a great pleasure. I mean, to get a king, and not any kind of a king that you are, My Majesty. It is not any kind of a king also that would be so humble and so noble, even to be with us here. If I look at your position, I look at your role on the kingdom and what you are to us as colored people, for you being in this position to talk to us, it's a gift, it's a voice. And I look at your brothers, like even the king or the president now of Malawi has the same spirit. And so there must be something in our spirituality that was stolen away from us, and we're running away, doing things the other way. The connection and the unity and the love would only come when we are spiritually linked up. So we can see each other as a brother and a sister, not as an enemy, not as a foreigner, not as a diaspora, but one children of the kingdom, isn't it? Of Embo.
Bayete. And I am just the ambassador of God on earth. All what I'm doing, I'm told by the Creator. He writes the script for me. They will tell you, the members of the Royal Council, if I speak, they will tell you to say it is not him who's speaking. It is upstairs. So all of us, we've got this connection, but all what we need to do is to reconnect to it. Today we are suffering because we have embraced religions. We are not people who are religious, but we are people who are spiritual. Amen. If all of us could live above religion and we become spiritual, we will all succeed in life.
Ashe.
I was in Mauritius the other day, before the COVID-19. I was sitting in one of the beach front. One guy came swimming out from the sea. He passed me. He's a Chinese guy. He passed me and then he came back to me. He says, when I was in that island, something says I must take this shell. And I swam from all the way from that particular island to the mainland. And as I'm passing you, a voice says to me, I must give you this shell. Who are you? I said, I'm nobody. I'm just an ordinary tourist who came here. Then he says, no, man, there's something about you. Take this shell. He gave it to me. Then he went and cleaned himself because he was swimming from the shower. Then he came back and says, I'm interested in you. I said, but why me? He says, no, man, I cannot swim such a distance and come out with a shell from a long distance of that island. And this shell, this voice says, I must give you this shell. And firstly, I did not know why I'm taking this shell. Secondly, when I took this shell, the voice says, give it to this man. Who are you? Then I said, okay, let me ease this man. I am a spiritual person. He says, now you are talking. Because he's a Chinese man, says, I live in Paris. I'm also a tourist here. I also do not subscribe to religion. I subscribe to spirituality. I think me and you can talk. We became friends and we exchanged numbers. But later I told him that I was King Bhungane. He was shocked because he went and Googled. The next morning when we had breakfast, he says, you know what? I'm so humbled to have known you. I said, no. It was God that was connecting because you are a spiritual engager. I'm a spiritual engager. And today we have met. I don't know why did we meet together. but God has made it a possibility for us to meet.
I hope he didn't ask you for land.
He's a man. he's a male Chinese guy that I liked. You know, we became friends. We just chat as friends.
Okay. My king. No, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm your queen, and we are careful. Particularly when they come in different shapes and forms, and the spirit leads you in the right way. And yes, of course, the spirit leads you in the right way and gives you the discernment to understand those that come, with those petty tricks again. My king, today you said something that is very relevant as we're rounding up. You said when you come, you have a message sent, because our topic today actually was talking about the possibilities in the community and how we can, how your sons and daughters can engage if they want land or they want to develop estates. And you said it's time for them to build these legacies. Otherwise, the kingdoms would be empty, isn't it?
Yes. I'm going to tell you something. We need to create kingdoms wherever we are. And we are going to embark on a trip next year. I think around about May, if I'm not wrong. I will look at the diary. We are going to Panama. The reason why we go to Panama was also used as a destination for slavery for the ships. So we are going to go to Panama, and we are also invited by the government of Panama to go and cleanse that place on a spiritual basis. And when we are there, we are going to store a chiefdom in those areas of Panama, and then later in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, we've got a paramount chief whom, after tried and tested procedures, we appointed him to be the one who's going to be the coordinator of kingdoms in the Caribbean. His name is Chief McPherson. I think you know Chief McPherson.
Yeah, I mean, I have an appointment to have him because we wanted to talk about that creation in the Caribbean. It's very, very important. So yes, I'm still waiting for his feedback to have him on the show. Yeah.
I spoke to him today. I can tell him to call you so that you host him. So we are going to go around the world, in the Latin Americans, in the North Americans, in the Caribbean, in Europe. We are taking charge now. We are creating all these chiefdoms. And then I did ask the governor, whom today we change his title, Governor Dr. Machel. We have elevated him to be the Deputy Prime Minister of Embo Kingdom. He is no more the governor. He is now the Deputy Prime Minister of Embo Kingdom. We have asked him with the Secretariat to prepare an official certificate for you, my queen, so that you become officially a queen of Embo Kingdom.
Who?
Don't be shy, this is TV.
Oh my God.
Bayete. So we will be creating chiefdoms around the world so that we create a parliament and one royal kingdom of Embo in the world, because we are the people of color.
Yes.
And in other countries, we would have kings. And these kings, what they will happen to them, they all know that they form what we call a continental royal council under one kingdom that is called Embo Kingdom. And all these kings in the world, they would then become members of the United Global Kingdoms. We have also created another body that is called United Global Kingdoms. Because
yes,
when you talk about
yes,
we have created that. We have also registered with United Nations with it. But what we are going to do, all these kingdoms that we are creating, they will then form that body that is called United Global Kingdoms. And then we are going to assist kingdoms that were destroyed, because this is one of the missions that I was asked by God to create on earth. One of my main mission is to resuscitate and restore the kingdoms that were destroyed, the indigenous kingdoms that were destroyed by colonialism. So we are going to be doing that task. We are going to be entering into that journey. We've got those ones now. We are talking to the ones that are, in New Zealand. We are going to restore that kingdom in New Zealand. And we are talking to the ones in Australia. We are going to be talking to all, because now these are people of color like me and you. We are reclaiming what belongs to us in the whole world. When you look at the history, you'd see that in North America, we were there before slavery. There is a kingdom here under Embo. It is called the Kingdom of Likuleni. If you look at the history of Hawaii, you would remember there was a queen who came from what they call Africa in the continent, who came from the continent, who was referred as Queen Likuleni. So that kingdom of the Likulenis is under Embo Kingdom. So we are coming together with all these kingdoms under United Kingdoms of Africa, but moving into the destination of United Global Kingdoms. And out of that, we create a parliament with our own money. We are not going to ask monies from our colonizers.
Never.
We are going to create a platform where we create a currency that is called Lumi. That currency is backed by gold and backed by energy. When you look at it today, you equate it to the dollar. One Lumi, it is equals to $15.9. So we are now talking to our counterparts in the continent to create a platform where we are able to change that currency and utilize it to fund kingdoms in our designated area, so that they become totally independent from any colonizers link.
Wow, this is so powerful. My king, I'm just like blushing, because Lumi was one of the first currencies before all the others were coming from the Caribbeans. Absolutely. And I kept wondering, and I kept asking, why do we keep creating others when we had Lumi? And in short, I mean, anyway, I hear you.
Lumi, we are going to push Lumi to be a global currency. Because remember, under the United Global Kingdoms, all these kingdoms would agree to use the currency that is called Lumi. And we are pushing that day and night. This is a war that we are busy doing. And let me tell you, out of that, we are going to finance our own operations. We'll create our own infrastructure. We won't be seeking any government funding for that. We'll create our own.
Ashe. Bayete, my
Right.
Royal Highness.
Right.
Wow. I mean, this message today, dear viewers and listeners, as you hear, it is the same thing that we had. The Queen Mother came, even Professor James Small, and all the prophets that are coming up saying there is a movement, there is a call, and it always has been not what the politicians are saying. We need to repatriate, we need to own this, but it's a global movement. And I never thought, even though I heard King Maponga said it, like it is a vision that was given, and these visions have to be put together. They have to do a lot of rituals. They have to look into the policies, because the world is not located for the African on the geographical space. It is the global world that Africans own, or people of color. And that's why we wonder, that's why we're scattered everywhere, isn't it?
It's God knew what he was doing. Today, God knew that. Remember, there is a kingdom of God, and there is a kingdom of Lucifer that is trying to create on earth. Meanwhile, the earth belongs to God. So this is the time for a total takeover. God is now taking over. That's why God has created this particular moment for us to create one currency that is called Lumi. God has went further to create an organization that is called United Global Kingdoms. And these kingdoms are clean kingdoms who do not have blood in their hands. And these kingdoms are going to multiply and take over in charge of the world. The world is going back to the hands of God.
Okay.
This is the time. This is the time.
Yes, my king. I hear. Now I see it. We finally see the pieces coming together, and the United Africa, one people, one voice, one currency, one passport, was Africa space, as a matter of fact. And because it became even always challenging, and I see it now, and the puzzle somehow, because I used to wonder, how are we going to all become one? I mean, we've been separated, we're spread all over. Our seeds are multiplying. Children that we even are, where we are, we will not carry them someday and say that we have to be on a geographical. How was it going to be? And I prayed and I asked all the time, how are we going to gather all of us? But now,
can I share something with you?
Go ahead, my king.
True United Kingdoms of Africa.
Yes.
Do you know what are the benefits? Do you know what are the benefits of UCA? The benefits of UCA, we would have our own president. I am not going to be the president. We would have the president together with his cabinet. We would have embassies the whole world. We would produce our own passports. We would have our own budget, the whole world. And these United Kingdoms of Africa will work hand in hand with the United Global Kingdoms. And when we issue passports together as the people of color, we are one.
Hey. Hey.
This is the dream. And we have registered United Kingdoms of Africa under IGO, under IVU. It's an independent body where the UN is a member. And people don't know, people think that always the United Nations is a member of the IVU, the IGO. So we are members of that. So out of that, we are going to create a link of creating our own president of the continent. with ambassadors, with governance structures that are going to be servicing our people, including those who are outside. Together with the United Global Kingdoms, will create same systems. Then we are in charge as the world.
Wow. Whew. Hey. Okay. Yes. Wow. The king has spoken. It cannot be any much better. The United Kingdoms of Africa.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And now I see when King Maponga was saying we would have our passport and that, and we will have all our embassies, and so we can travel and have our currency and trade our minerals. We own them and everything. So, wow!
Imagine Lumi. Lumi is backed by gold and energy. Imagine if we take other mineral resources of this continent under one ministry, then we back our currency. Which currency is going to match us in the world?
Wow, 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 wow. Africa to the world. Now I see when they said we're taking over, and in our small mind, our small space, we always were thinking we're taking over even from the oppressors. Now we're taking over the world. And of course, because the world belongs to us.
We're taking over the world. We are taking, and we don't need their permission. That's why I said Africa, that's why I said Africa can do better without these people. We don't need them. We taught them education, these people. They never knew how to write. They lived with animals. We taught them civilization. It is us that must now reclaim our space and teach them how things are done. We are the inventors. Today we've got computers. They don't want to tell you that it is us who came up with this. They patent these things. Our brothers and sisters during slavery, they came up with a lot of things. They stole them and patented them under their name. Ford, the car that is called Ford today, it was a creation of a person of color like me and you. They patent all these things. Telephone, it was a creation of a person of color. I can go on and on and on and on. We created this thing. If you look at the system, when the pharaohs stole our system of connecting with the sun, you would see in those pyramids how the sun was, the accuracy, how we built those pyramids, measurements. We were there before them. Now we are back. The spirit of heaven, it is back. It is the reincarnation of the people who lived before, who are now here on earth to take back what belongs to them. We are back. And they're not going to stop us because why? We are covered with the power of heaven. They are not, look at their kingdoms. They are collapsing. Kingdoms that are backed by the very same Caucasians, the very same people who stole gold, who stole all the minerals. Look at the diamond that is used by the so-called, I still repeat, so-called Queen of England. Comes from here in this continent. Let her show me what belongs to her. Because that kingdom, so-called kingdom, it is created with the foundation of things that were stolen from my motherland. So I cannot have respect for such a person who is a thief. These are a group of thieves, and I'm not going to bow down to them. But what I'm going to do, it is my time. I'm going to reclaim my space. and the Lumi is going to work. Even if they want to close it, these criminals under their reserve banks, we will create our own reserve banks under the UKA and under the United Global Kingdoms, and will make Lumi to work in the world for our people. We don't need their money because their money is dirty.
Whew.
Bayete.
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 Hi, my king. Yes, because there's just a spirit in this place. It's just calm.
Absolutely. It is God. He's in charge now. And then what, they're not going to stop us. I don't care who says what. You can bring your guns and you think you have killed me. No. There are more who are coming after me. I'm still repeating. By silencing me, you are wasting your time. Because there are more who are coming behind me. There's a chain that you cannot cut, because these are people who are destined for this journey. And all of them, their reincarnation, they are here on earth. And you can't see them, but you'll see them when we connect. Because all of us, we are for the same mission. We are for the same mission. And the mission that I'm talking about, it is a mission of the tried and tested people in heaven. And these tried and tested people in heaven are people who are not going to back down. If you remember the history of Jesus, when they were talking about his journey, they said, when you are on earth, you are going to be beaten. They're going to be chastising you. They're going to do wrong things to you. They will spit onto you, but you must stand by the principle of heaven. Remember what the governor of Rome, what he said there to him. He said, I can free you today. I can give you freedom. Jesus said, no, you don't have powers to free me. You don't know what is happening here. That is the same spirit that we are talking about. The Caucasians, the colonizers, those who want to silence me, they don't know what is happening. God is in charge. And there are more behind me who are with the same mission in different places in this continent and in the world. Today, these people are coming together. That's why we are standing up. And what God has given us, he made sure that he gives us power for all these kingdoms that were created by the blood to collapse. We are here to clean and restore what God has put together. It is our journey. You remember the journey of the John the Baptist? His journey was very simple on earth. He came here to baptize Jesus Christ and leave. It was not about the flesh, it was about the spirit. That's why his spirit needs to be clean all the time. Jesus knew that his journey begins at the river Jordan. That's why when he went to the mountain of Gethsemane, when he said to God, I don't think I'm fit to do this, God descended angels, Elijah and Moses, to talk to him, to say, there is no turning back. This is your time. I am saying, I am at the level of the mountain of Gethsemane. I'm not turning back. I must make sure where I have to arrive, and I must arrive. Because if I don't do so, if I sell my soul to these creatures, to these Caucasians that have bestowed their legacy under Lucifer, if I'm going to bow down to them, let me tell you, I'm not going to be able to go back to heaven. If I proceed with God's powers and God's journey, I'm going to go back where I came from. It is very simple. Why Jesus had to go to the cross? Because he knew that that is the only journey for him to go back to heaven. That's why he said, when he was put onto that cross, after he was put onto the nail into that cross, he said, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? Because I have done what you have asked me to do on earth. It is the same with me. I am here and my journey is near to end. And that journey, I have to complete it with higher marks, so that when I go back to heaven, I must get a standing ovation in heaven for doing what I've been asked to do on earth. That's why I say many are coming after me, and the many are having the same journey. By killing me, you are wasting your time. You are just wasting your time. My son, he's a warrior like me. He's the crown prince. When you kill him, there's another crown prince who's going to come. Because Embo, it is not a kingdom that is only designated to me. It is the people of color of the whole world. Now imagine, for you to succeed to destroy Embo, you have to kill all the people of color. So you can't do that. You are wasting your time. Bayete. Bayete. You know, if I can tell you, you'll laugh. I was poisoned more than 15 times. Do you know that? They gave me poison to eat, even part of my family, because they were giving money or whatever, I don't know, but they poisoned me. I was poisoned more than 15 times. I did not die. You know why? Because you can't kill the Spirit of God. You can't. You're wasting your time. And I'm addressing those Caucasians. I'm addressing those Fuzis who are paying allegiance to these murderers. You can't kill me. You're wasting your time.
King Bongane.
Bayet. Thank you very much.
Oh, my king.
Bayete, my queen. Bayete, my queen.
Bayete, my king. Bayete. Thank you so much, my king. I mean, I think we have a little bit of what we need for the whole session before we'll be having the King of the Caribbean. I see all the list, even the ones in the East and the South that they're putting up together. It's a whole massive thing.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, we also would be having King Maponga anytime on the show this month already, with some very good news from your kingdom. I know that already. And we want to thank you so much, my king.
I humble myself to you, my queen, and I humble myself to all the people who are watching this show. If there's anything I've done to you, I'm saying sorry, and I'm apologizing again for my forefathers that were part of involving themselves into slavery. I'm saying sorry for everything that happened. Today, let's come together. Let bygones be bygones. Let's forget the past and come together and form one nation that is divine. My apologies on that. My apologies for what has happened. It has happened. I am sorry on their behalf, even if they did not understand what they were doing. Please forgive them. Bayete.
Okay. Bayete. For the first time.
Bayete.
My God. Thank you so very much, my king. We see us very soon. Good night.
Bayete.
Bayete.
Bayete. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I think this is a journey that has been long. And on the day that we are celebrating the transition of Robert Nesta Marley, the 11th of May, when he left us in 1981, it was very obvious that something marvelous and big would happen to the children of color, like he said, worldwide. It was very obvious that as we remember him today, Bob Marley is the one I'm talking about, that there is a spirit that has always been there. For the first time, I think in 400 years, a king has come out to officially apologize on behalf of his ancestors. It has never done. We have begged the leaders. We have begged the president. No wonder they don't even recognize us. No wonder they don't feel the pain of their children being murdered, being shot, being hung. And we keep asking these questions. Why are they silent? Why is no one speaking when our children are drowning in the oceans? Why is no one speaking when the same people you're doing business with them are the ones that keep murdering us? Why is someone not saying anything? No leader has been able to come and offer an apology for the crimes that they committed. Our ancestors, our leaders, none. For the first time. And it only could have taken a king, because we are people of the kingdom. We are queens and kings. We never were all the systems that are new now. We're just different. We're stranger in it. And we begin to wonder why we're divided. We begin to wonder why we don't function. What is it that makes us, no matter how powerful, what kind of energy, no matter what good intention you have as an African, you'll be the first person to be killed and connived by your own very one. We had asked all these questions for centuries, for decades. We had Professor James Small came here, and I'm just happy, and I bring him greetings all the time, because that's our living ancestors. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, all of them have been saying the same thing. We don't have a sanctuary. And we all wept. We all cried. King Maponga came here. We all wept and we all cried. Why must some crimes happen to African people or people of color? Why must we always be in a position? We have asked generations upon generations. What is the privilege that we're given golds and diamonds and a continent that is so rich in everything, but we are the most miserable race of people? Anywhere we can be tortured, we can be molested, even by our own selves, and no one speaks up. What is happening amongst us as brothers and sisters, as families, as children and parents? We have been asking why. Today, we know we have to go back to our spirituality. We have to connect with the Most High, the powers that be, the Creator, not religion, not infrastructures, not churches, but your spirit. You see me, you see you. I see you, you see me. We don't need to gather in a place and drink some water. We don't need to bow down to some sculptures and think that that's what is going to save us. I thank you so very much. Tomorrow, I don't know whether we will connect or what is going to happen, because what just happened here, I would be posting what guests and what show we'll be having on tomorrow. But I think we need to digest this program, this conversation with the king. We need to take a moment for ourselves and look into it and ask, were we robbed? King Maponga said it. Who are those people that they say were stolen? Who are those people in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that they say they were taken to foreign lands? Who are those people that they said rejected their gods and worship foreign gods? They are the chosen people if you find them. And now we find ourselves in the kingdom belongs to us, the universe. Thank you so much. I'm still dreaming, the Queen of Embo Kingdom. Thank you so much. I bring you greetings from the Princess Neisha Melkan, who put all these programs together, bringing the kings and narratives and curating the setup. I bring you greetings from Iya Babot, who is sitting on the technical panel tonight. And also I bring you greetings from a prince on the continent, called PK Kasserem. And me sitting here, you all know. And I thank you all for becoming part of this kingdom, and the new Africa is now. We see ourselves tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Blessings. Bye.
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.